Like cooking, everything has a recipe.
A set of instructions to follow in order to gain a certain result.
Music is no different.
Be it ingredients for a dish, a set list for an amazing show,
Or a release strategy for a successful launch.
these are all recipes.
Hi, we're your hosts, Sean.
And I'm Brandon.
Come and join us in our kitchen as we go through the Music Makers Cookbook.
Let's get cooking.
All right, welcome to the Music Makers Cookbook, the podcast where we talk to and with independent artists and anyone in the music making industry, the audio industry, music business, however way you want to phrase it, about recipes for success. Now, it's Music Makers Cookbook. We're going to be talking about a lot of analogies with food, so be prepared for that. Speaking of analogies, I'm your chef, Sean, and this is my sous chef, Brandon.
Oh, a sous chef.
Do you mind if I say sous chef?
Of course.
All right, next time you introduce it, you can call me the sous chef. So we'll take turns on that.
Deal. I'll go for sous chef, bro. You know?
Yeah.
I think that's cool. I can't even say it, so.
But yeah, so we're excited to start this podcast. This is the very first episode, so thanks for tuning in. Throughout this episode, I'm just going to kind of talk about what we're going to be doing, why you should listen to this, who this is for, if it's for you, what's important about it, how this can really be beneficial, and also about who we are, where we're coming from, how we can help. Because that's a big part about, you got to trust us. You got to say, hey, these guys kind of know what they're talking about.
Absolutely.
And we kind of do, but we're also learning on this journey as well.
Yes.
And the music industry is constantly evolving. So this is constantly going to be talking about updates about, what's going on, things to talk about, things to think about, AI, yada, yada. So keep in tune for a bunch of podcast episodes. But before we jump into all that, before we dive into our main course, food pun, we're going to have a little bit of an appetizer, which is kind of our, bullshitting before the podcast.
Absolutely.
Kind of get us comfortable, get into it. Well, every podcast does. And I've got an idea. I've got something on the menu for the appetizer today.
Yeah, let it rip, man.
Yeah, here we go. So if you remember in like preschool or elementary school, there were like these icebreakers where you'd go around the room and introduce yourself and talk about what you did over the summer. Yeah.
Those are brutal, man. Always on syllabus day in college too, man.
We're going to do the same thing. We've already said our names. We're going to say it again because you don't know us. And this is what this episode is all about. So we're going to talk about who we are. Anyways, we're going to share what's your name, what's your favorite food, where's your favorite place to eat, and what's something you've done in the music industry in the past 6 months to kind of talk about, hey, this is how involved we are, something that we've done that's cool, not cool, whatever, just something you want to share that you've done in the past 6 months.
Absolutely, man.
Do you want to take off the lead first,
or
do you want me to jump in? Yeah,
I can go first. Yeah, so my name is Brandon. I run a studio in Michigan. Do you want to tell where in Michigan?
That's up to you.
Hey, I mean, we'll just say Michigan. Southeastern Michigan. Favorite food? That's a great question, man. That is a really good question. I'm going to go with like the stereotypical one and say pizza, but it like has to be like a Neapolitan style pizza. I think like that's my like creme de la creme of pizza. Do you like the New York style pizza too? Your standard pizza is cool too, like the chains and everything like that. Like it's all right,
slicers.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And that'll get you by in a pinch for sure.
I will say though, the pretzel crust on Little Caesars,
dude. So
that's actually pretty tight. With them, I always get the stuffed crust, $10 for a large pretzel stuffed crust.
I actually don't enjoy.
No.
Yeah. Well, I heard they might have changed it where they don't put cheese on the whole thing now.
No, there's two options. You can get it with the cheese sauce.
Yeah, no.
Or you can get it with just regular tomato sauce. And the first time I got the cheese sauce. Yeah. Instantly regretted it.
Oh, disgusting.
Still ate the whole thing.
I think I actually threw it out. Like, I did not like it that much, man. I was that much of a hater on it.
But no, with tomato sauce, it's actually pretty good.
Okay, I'm going to try it with tomato sauce now. Dinner tonight. Anyways.
Dude, me too.
Dude, yeah, right? But yeah, creme de la creme is Neapolitan style pizza. Great stuff. Probably my favorite all time. Very stereotypical favorite food. Well, whatever. Favorite place to eat, though, is actually this place in Ann Arbor called Angelo's. Angelo's is an awesome place located right by the hospital. It's right off of Catherine Street. But you have to go there. If you're listening to this podcast right after it comes out or sometime in the nearest future, you have to go there immediately to try it because they will be shutting down at the end of the year. It's so sad.
June 2023 is when this is coming out.
June 2023. They will be shutting down at the end of December 2023, which is so sad. It's family-run business. They've had songs written about them, which is insane. And they have the best clubs. They have the best French toast. So good. And it's so sad that they're closing. The guy's retiring. The family doesn't want to take it over. And the university is buying that property for $4.5 million, which is absolutely insane. So it is a nice little package for him to depart from the family business and call it a day on that. So you have to go there soon. Have to go there. But it's awesome, though. Highly recommend.
I've never been, so I got to check that out.
Dude, maybe we'll have to go there sometime for lunch.
Maybe we will.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Because I'm always down to
If you
go
ever
there.
have like a free time after we record, we're making a trip.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Well, everything just got canceled for today. So I just cleared out the schedule. Let's go, baby.
Let's do it.
It's last question. What have I done in the past 6 months with the studio? Just generally, we've been working on a lot of different things. I just finished up an album with my boy RJ yesterday, which has been great. He's a Christian rapper based out of Westland, Michigan. Outside of that, just been cranking out a bunch of different projects with a bunch of different people. Had a few people that I work with move recently, so we've tied up a few loose ends on that. It's honestly just been really, really busy, and it's been great. And obviously, I don't need to state the obvious to you, but to everybody else, we actually just had the studio renovated because of a small backup we had at the beginning of the year that kind of caused a small flood, and we just decided to renovate the whole kit and caboodle, and we just knocked it out. So now we're in kind of like a newish environment here. So that's kind of what I've done in the past 6 months.
Yeah, and it looks really nice.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. You've seen it before and you saw it after, which is
I barely saw it before.
Barely. I'm talking one session. I actually recorded Sean that session.
You did?
And
yeah.
it's so funny because now we're going to talk about Sean and what he does. And Sean, go ahead and take it away, man.
Man, cheering me up too. Look at this. Almost like we've done this, but we haven't.
I think we've attempted, like at least once or twice.
But no, it's just so graciously teeing me off. My name is Sean Weyers. I'm going to go for the last name.
Oh.
I'm the owner, audio engineer, whatever you want to call it, of SWS Recordings. That's my studio name. I mainly do remote mixing and mastering, some local stuff, but most of my stuff I do is with artists online. And a big part of that is mixing and mastering, but also with artist development. That's a sector that I'm diving into, learning more about, getting more involved in. I've got a couple of clients I'm helping through the process. And this is a huge part of it. This podcast is, how can we help the artists we work with, because you do mixing and mastering as well and tracking, but how can we help people after they have the song? Because it's one of the things we're going to talk about today is, unfortunately, it's not just about the music anymore. It's about a whole lot more than that. So if that sounds interesting to you, stick around, because this is all about what should you be doing after you get your music done.
Right.
But yeah, so to answer the first question, my favorite food, you won't believe me, but this is actually true. My favorite food is toast.
Toast is awesome.
Toast.
I'm not I have no gripes with that.
I can't decide which one. Like Texas toast, so good. Sourdough, so good. But even just like a slice of white bread with just butter and garlic salt.
Oh, I do the garlic salt every time, dude. That's every time.
Dude.
That's the requirement, though. You do have to have garlic salt on it.
Have to have the garlic
I mean,
salt.
unless it's like raisin.
Yeah, like cinnamon raisin.
Yeah.
Toast is so good.
Dude, Angelo's? Yeah, you love it.
Do we have to go there?
Yeah. Now I'm hyping it up.
You've been hyping it up
now
so
I'm hyping
much.
It up. Sponsor me for the next 6 months or whatever.
So yeah, toast is my thing, and I'm so lucky. My girlfriend, we have a bread maker, and she likes to just bake,
nice.
so she makes fresh bread. Oh, so good.
Dude, that's awesome.
Favorite restaurant? I'm the one that put this question together, but I didn't actually think about it. What my favorite restaurant is. I don't eat out that often, and most places that I do eat out on, I eat out specifically for the budget of it.
Yeah.
And I always feel like crap afterwards.
Yeah, I feel that.
So I'm trying to think of the places that I've eaten where I've actually felt like
I have a question for you. When you order out, because like we kind of stopped ordering out. Everything is just so expensive right now. We're just like, oh, we'll just make it ourselves. It's more fun, more rewarding anyways. And because like we both like cooking. And do you ever get like instant regret for ordering out? You're just like, man, this was not worth this,
all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bad habit, man.
I've only ordered like Grubhub or DoorDash once, and that was an instant regret. And then also like somehow like I used it on someone else's phone, a friend's phone, and they just kept using my account for like the next couple of months. So I had to like contact Uber Eats like 3 times and say, hey, please cancel my account. Oh no, it's not fraudulent. I'm like, yes, it is. Stop.
Oh my God. I'd be so mad.
Yeah, but I didn't want to download the app because I didn't want to order it. So I put the information into their thing. Yeah. And I'd click don't save, but apparently it saved. So yeah, one Grubhub cost me like $200 over the past couple of months because they just kept using it.
That is brutal. Did you ever tell your friend that?
I don't talk to them anymore.
That's why. Do not steal your friend's Grubhub accounts. Man.
No, don't steal.
Like if you know it's not your,
don't steal their credit card.
That's what I'm saying.
Anyways,
he knew that. Oh, that's mean. That's mean, man. Now you got me all fired up, man.
Yeah, which is
it's getting hot in this kitchen.
Steamy. No, so favorite restaurant. Actually, there's a pizza place in downtown Plymouth called the Pizza Spot.
Yep.
Don't buy a full pizza from them. You have to go get the slice, get the one that's been on the counter. It's New York style, but something about it sitting on that heated pad and then them putting it back and reheating in the oven and then just the grease of it, like the folding over of it. It's gotta be like, good. The whole atmosphere of it.
Yeah, it's got to be because like that tray is probably seasoned with all the other pizza that's been on there.
Oh yeah,
and it's just like it absorbs that, and it just probably just is like so good.
Second answer, 7-Eleven. Taquitos are great.
Okay. All right. Wow.
You were all with me and then like, nope, just trash.
I was not expecting. That is an absolute curveball, man. That was a curveball. See, the toast thing didn't throw me off, and you prepped us for the toast, but you gave us no preparation for the 7-Eleven.
No prep. Yeah. But no,
wow.
I mainly cook my own food because I can do a good job with cooking. But yeah, so those are my things. And what have I done the past 6 months? I launched my artist development process and program and working with clients on it. Before that, I was spending a lot of time developing it. That's been my main focus. Got putting together a list of assets for clients that I've worked with. And at some point when it's done, I'm going to include it as a download from this episode. In a future episode, we're going to be talking about how to market yourself, social media, yada, yada, yada. So I've been putting together a bunch of assets using free stuff through things like Canva and whatnot, where you can download it, implement your own images, your own colors, and just have ready-made templates specifically towards achievements, accolades, shows, things in the music industry that can be really beneficial to artists. I've been putting that together. A couple other different things, working with some artists, local and further away. I'm wrapping up an album with a guy in New Zealand. Finished 3 EPs with someone in California, and one of the songs just made on Spotify's Hot Folk playlist.
That's great.
So he's really happy with that.
Yeah.
Really, that's kind of what I've been doing. I've been really focusing on the artist development aspect of it, learning a lot, implementing a lot, doing a lot, putting together. Just a little bit of a hint. I'm putting together my own project because all these things that I'm doing, are tested. They work with other artists, but I really want to have myself as a test case too. So I'm putting together a musical project where I can implement all these things that we're going to be talking about.
Oh, cool, man.
So you can follow along with real time and say, oh yeah, it's working out for him. And putting out blast means like, now I got to do it.
Yep.
So I can say, hey, this things talk about on the podcast, they work because this is my own project. And I don't really take it that seriously because my goal isn't to be a musician. But if I'm getting this success or getting these numbers, imagine if you really took it seriously and applied all the things you talk about, what you would get from. So speaking of,
that's great, man. I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this goes. You didn't even tell me that. That's news to me.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome, man. Yeah. Cool.
Think about like that news jingle that comes like the ba-da-da, or I don't know. That's Sports Network. Anyways. But with that's the appetizer. Time to jump into the main course. Basically, today we're going to be talking about you as an artist, what to expect. And by the time we're done talking about this, you'll know what kind of strategy this podcast will cover, what kind of techniques this podcast is going to cover, different ways to go about your career, how to take it more seriously, how to treat it like a business, and just kind of have more of how this podcast can help you form a game plan for success in the music industry. Mm-hmm. And, all these recipes are going to come straight to you courtesy of us. So please cook them along with us. If you have any alterations on these recipes, maybe want to substitute something spicy in or something sweet or change it up the ingredients a little bit, please let us know. We can, come back, talk about it in a future episode. Absolutely. Or just kind of have things about it. Because really, music is such a personal thing. It's all about the people. And, we work with a bunch of artists. That's how we learn all these things we're going to talk about. And if you can be part of that process too, help us learn more to understand and help other artists better, please be a part of that. Reach out to us. Yeah. We're going to have an email in the show description. So if you want to send us an email, please send it there. Anyways, jumping right into it, let's kind of talk about first some of the things that we see and why we felt like we needed a podcast. And maybe this relates to some of you and helps identify, oh, well, I'm doing some of these things. Maybe I need to listen to this because these are some shortcomings that I have that I need to start taking seriously if music is what I want to do for the rest of my life and be self-supportive and make a living doing the things I love for as long as possible.
Yeah.
For better or for worse, we live in a capitalist society. Money is how we exchange value. Money is what keeps us going, gets food in our mouth, roof overhead. I was going to say food over our head and roof in our mouth. Chew on that. But no, so it's important. So you have to be able to make an income with your music in order to do it as much as possible. Unfortunately, music is not, as I alluded to earlier, it's not the end all be all anymore.
Right.
So kind of go in some specific things that we see. First, I'm going to talk about exactly that music is not the end all be all. It's not all about music. Like, there are major labels out there, obviously. A lot of people think like, I need to sign with a label and that's how I'm big. That's how you blow up. That is a route. Sometimes the independent route's better. That's up for you to decide the more you learn about it. But what the labels aren't doing anymore, they used to do, that the old music industry did, is headhunt. Go to a bar and like, oh man, this guy's great. Let's give them a bunch of money, invest in them, and then we'll take most of the profit because we've had this huge investment up front. What used to happen was like, I think it's Bruce Springsteen. I think he's the guy. He's the one that did Born to Run, right?
I think so.
Bruce Springsteen? I believe so. If I'm wrong, please just rain fire on me. But when he was signed by a major label, Born to Run was his first hit of an album. And that was his third album. So that means the record company gave him a bunch of money to make the first album. Still believed in him. Second album flopped. Still believed in him. Third album, boom, now they made that huge recovery.
Yep.
Motown was all about finding artists and putting a bunch of development into them, and it exploded. It rocked the era.
Absolutely.
Motown took over.
Motown was huge.
Yeah, but it's because they headhunted, they went out, they found people, they put time and effort in. Artists aren't discovered like that anymore. No. Very, 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 like sure Rihanna was and things like that, but even that's early 2000s at this point. Nowadays, that's not what labels are doing. They're looking for people who already have the ball running. And whereas before, hey, we're invested in you, maybe the third album is the hit, but we like believe in your music and want to keep funding it. Now it's like, hey, we bought your single because it blew up on TikTok, and that's why we signed you, but it didn't quite hit our numbers, so now we're going to drop you and buy this next viral song on TikTok.
Yep.
So that longevity with record label isn't really there anymore. They're still banking on, I mean, they have like the Taylor Swifts, the Ed Sheerans, all that kind of stuff. And they only need a couple of them to fill the books. They don't need to invest all this money. I think it's 90% or even maybe more of artists that sign with record labels fail. The band gets broken, they drop at the end. And honestly, if we're talking about kind of the business specific look towards it, you really don't even want to be discovered that way. Because if someone finds you in the bar, says, hey, this guy's great, we're going to give you a bunch of money to help produce your next album and push you in marketing, well, you've got no leverage now because you got nothing. So they can say, hey, but we're going to take 90% of the royalties, probably an exaggeration, but a high number. And then, we own the final masters. Yeah. So once the contract ends, you don't own your masters. We do. That happened to Taylor Swift with her record label. Yep. So she had to buy them all back.
She's still going through that.
Yeah.
Still going through it today.
Yeah. And it's because she was found like that, but she had no bargaining. Now, if you have a following, you've got people who are coming out to your shows, you've got like a couple 100,000 million plays overall on Spotify, followers, a bunch of listeners. Now you've got leverage. I don't necessarily need to work with you as a major label. So maybe like a 50-50 split or, have to have more upfront, things like that. So you can actually have the ball rolling. You know how your socials work. You know what your fan base needs. And you have an understanding of it before you expand, not just the first person who says, hey, we believe in you, here's money, now we own you.
Yeah.
It's, hey, people will say, once you get more traction, hey, we believe in you, we want to fund you, but then you can decide you don't seem like a good fit, you don't seem genuine. Okay, this person I kind of believe in, and just be wary with all of that. So that's how the industry kind of works nowadays. It's not it's not all about the music. It's not my song is so good that someone will discover me. You have to put it out in front of them. And we were going to talk about all the ways to put it out in front of people.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much one of the mistakes that I see. What do you see?
Yeah, no, I think something on more of a micro level instead of like the bigger picture kind of thing is that even at like these stages, and I think probably even further into, you know, maybe getting a record label and everything like that, is that people aren't educating themselves enough on what to do after you're done with your music or whatever the case may be. You have to be constantly searching out knowledge, some strategies, techniques, just to at least familiarize yourself with them. Some of them might not apply to you, but it would be at least helpful knowing sometimes, and then that will give you a good benchmark on how to actually approach these scarier topics, because, you know, without a plan, it's really hard to make anything happen. And I see that, you know, fairly frequently where it's like, oh, I have this song, I'm going to go put it out tomorrow. That's probably not a really good strategy. Like maybe
it's not a strategy.
It's maybe we should sit down and actually plan this out, so that way, you know, you make a return on your investment of your time and your money. So that is something I see a lot, is that people aren't just seeking out education on these things. And sometimes I do understand the caveat that sometimes these are hidden behind paywalls and you don't know who to trust out there. Everybody has something in their bios that says they're an A&R, or they have credits with this person or credits with that person. So who do I really trust? Because anybody can throw anything up there, right? And those credits might only be, he used one of my samples, but all of a sudden you have a credit, right? So I do understand that caveat, but I think the more that you kind of dive into it, the more knowledge that you seek out as a musician yourself, the better off you'll be overall. And I don't see that an awful lot. There's not that thirst, there's not that desire sometimes. And that's really where it all kind of starts within itself.
It reminds me of the saying that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yes.
And unfortunately, when you think about music as it's all about the music, you don't really plan towards, okay, well, how do I actually succeed with it? How do I get money with it? And it all kind of goes back to like the mindset. And some of the mindsets that I see are the idea of like, I'm an artist, so I'm a starving artist. I like kind of wear it like a badge.
It's the Hollywood, and the Hollywood vision of an artist.
Yeah, like I'm playing on the corner, I'm not making money, I'm scraping by, but my art is real. That's the vision of it. Well, if it's real and it speaks to people, then you should be compensated for it, because that's the only way you'll be able to keep making music.
Yep.
I even have a buddy who released an album, and he called the album Starving Artist. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, no, you shouldn't be thinking about it like that.
Right.
Unless that's the story you want to tell of that story of that artist. But that's not most people who make music.
Yeah.
That's not that specific story they want to tell. But the mindset is like, oh, no, I don't need to get paid for this. Or, oh, yeah, I'll play this show for free. Or, yeah, I'll do this gig and I have to sell 20 tickets. And if I don't sell 20 tickets, I have to buy all the tickets. So now I'm $100 out of the hole because only 10 of my buddies wanted to do it. Things like that. Like, be planned, be careful. If there's a value to, okay, I've sold 20 tickets and I only have 10 friends who are willing to come, so I'm out a pocket $100 and I don't get paid, but there's this really cool local band on the scene and it's in this venue that can house like 100 people or 150 people that are all in my genre that I, could travel with and get a part of. Maybe it's worth, taking that hit to your wallet. But you got to think about those things, not just like, oh man, I'm so excited to play Friday night. I'll pay $200 to do it. But then you also, if you don't have a bunch of people committed to you, maybe you have to pay for a session drummer or guitarist or other people in the band. And no, what you're doing means something.
Absolutely.
Because there's a reason you're creating it.
At any stage, by the way.
Oh yeah.
You can be at any stage. It matters.
Oh yeah. So it's valuable. The starving artist, giving away for free, all that. No.
I'm pretty sure the starving artist model, if I had to guess, that it was created by the corporate world. Had to have been. That's my complete guess. I have no research on that. I'm just spitballing. But if I had to guess, I bet that would be what it was, because you deserve to be compensated for your art.
It's possible for sure that that's where it came from. But I also think that is just like, oh, my art is pure. I don't need to get paid for it because it just matters to me. It's like, well, if it matters to me, it's going to matter to somebody else. If it matters to somebody else, then it's worth something. If it's worth something, how do we exchange worth? Money. You monetize it, make some money with it. Think about it like a business. Another mentality, and we're going to talk about that, just kind of ways to monetize, ways to put your music in front of people who care, who want to support you, who want to help you. Sources like, crowdfunding for your album, or putting music on Bandcamp for people to just pay what they want. And a lot of times fans will even overpay because they just want to support you.
Absolutely.
How to put content out that encourages people to help support you in addition to the main songs you release. that's getting ahead of it. But those are the kind of things we're going to talk about specific towards that mentality.
Yeah.
Another one is kind of the scarcity mindset. So these are different mindsets. We'll probably have a full episodes or a full series about the whole mentality of being a musician. And, because it is so personal. I know a lot of artists who suffer from depression or mental illness, or that's their outlet. That's their therapy. That's how they get it out there. And it can be very taxing. And if you don't feel like you're getting the recognition that you deserve, or you need to keep going, it can be very demoralizing and it can cause you to stop. So just focusing on, hey, this is a mindset you might be in. This is how we address it. So if you're kind of at the point where, I've been doing this for, a year or two, and I'm not getting, my fan base isn't growing. Like, my buddies aren't coming out to my shows anymore, even though I keep trying to get them to come. These are some things that we're going to help kind of talk about and in future episodes. But specifically kind of like not to dive too deep into it, kind of like the victim mindset, just to so you know what exactly it is the thought process of things happen to you. You don't charge them like, oh, no one's discovered me yet, so that's why I'm not big. Oh, people aren't coming to my shows. That's woe is me. I'm not getting, my fans aren't coming out. My fans aren't loyal.
Absolutely.
No, take control of it. How do I find more loyal fans?
Right.
How do I get the attention of the major labels if your goal is to get signed? Or how do I get the attention of people on TikTok to hear my song? Or how do I get creative with it? And we're in the music industry. It's all about creativity.
Yeah.
And the way to stand out is to be creative. So use that skill that you've been molding and shining and polishing and working on and creating to be creative with more than just your music. That's why we're making this podcast.
That's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
You have to take ownership of your career and creativity. Yeah. I think that leads us to kind of our next topic on what kind of things we see within our local community here. And I mean, honestly, you do a lot of remote work. I've been starting to do a lot of remote work too. Just where we're at with this stage is not treating yourself like you're a business. You yourself are a business in the music industry. You have to realize that, and you have to set yourself up to be successful in that way. And I'm not even talking in terms of your own success, but I'm also talking in terms of legal success. Sometimes taxman is coming, and he's going to come for you every year, and he's going to say, I want my money, and you are going to pay him his money because, well, that's what we have to do. There's two things that are certain in life, right? Death and taxes. I like to throw coffee in there too, because I think everybody should have coffee. But
I'll agree with that.
Yeah, it's just mine. It's mine, whatever. My modification. But anyways, no, but seriously, you have to be able to set yourself up and run yourself as a business. And, there are a lot of benefits to doing that too, like tax write-offs. You can write off studio time. You can write off equipment. You can write off your car. You can
your van, your cymbals, your tom heads, your guitar. Yeah, you said guitar already.
Yeah, and by not doing that, you're actually wasting money.
Yeah.
Seriously, you're leaving money on the table.
The 10 miles, the 200 miles it took you to drive to the next part in your tour, those are miles that you can write off on taxes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to be keeping track of these things, writing them off, and saving yourself a little bit of cash in the long run, but also being...
Now, we're not lawyers, this isn't legal advice,
of course,
but these are things to be aware of.
These are things to be aware of. This is not professional accounting advice, legal advice, or anything in between. But definitely hire a CPA, and we'll actually have probably a topic on that.
Maybe we'll even have it on the
CPA show. Or doing accounting or whatever the case may be. And I see that would be a great idea is to get a guest on here to talk about that.
Thanks for patting me on the back while we're on air.
Yeah, dude. Of course, man. Of course, dude. If you didn't see, I actually patted him on the back. That's a lie. So actually,
no. Don't say it's a lie, because this is a video podcast. So if you're listening to this, you have to now watch this whole thing video to see if he pats me on the back.
Yes. Ooh, who patted who?
Ooh.
But yeah, kind of going back to it, you have to know how to have a separate business banking account and how to run that and how to budget properly and really just do all the things that a business does. Do you set yourself up as an LLC, or do you keep yourself as a sole proprietor, or do you do something completely off the wall? Like I said, I don't know much about anything else outside of that realm, so this isn't legal advice, but we're going to be talking about those things and kind of teeing these up to you guys so you guys can actually think about it, do your own research, and see what's best for you. But you have to be willing to run yourself and run your music as a business, because if you don't, then you might have some shortcomings coming for you, and those actually might be legal shortcomings. So definitely don't get into that. We don't want you guys to get harassed.
No, we want you to make music. Not
we don't
be
want
in
you guys
court.
to be stressed.
Yeah.
And not be in court. That would suck really bad. And if you are in court, hopefully you're doing the suing and getting your money. Don't add that in there.
Yeah, like Marvin Gaye's estate.
Yeah,
Like Ed
exactly.
Sheeran,
Yeah, exactly. Shout out Ed Sheeran.
Yeah. But no, exactly that. If we want you to do this for a living, make your music, show it to the people who care, and be able to keep doing it again and again, learn, grow, experience, be creative, get your music out there. And in order to do that, you have to do things that aren't sexy, that aren't about the music. Like all the things we talked about legally, even things like, manage social media, which can be very stressful and can be harmful to mental health depending on how you go about it. Things such as put together a press kit, electronic press kit, or, just a bunch of things that go behind having a successful music career. And the good news is right now it's a marathon, not a sprint, and it's going to be hard now. It's going to take a lot of time. So keep that in mind if you really want to be successful with that. As we said earlier, the explosion overnight just doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah,
The big bands that blow up have been doing it for 10 years.
Yep.
So it's going to take a lot of effort. But the good news is the more you do it, the more you know how it works, the more knowledgeable you are about all facets of it. And the more you learn, the more on top of like new gears, things that make it easier, AI, automation, all these things to take the weight off of your back from doing all these things. As I said at the start, what I'm doing is I'm working on Canva templates to help with posts on social media, like a template for a single drop or an album drop or a 1-year anniversary or an upcoming show, like an album anniversary, or promoting another local artist that you're going to be doing a split performance with, or just a bunch of things like that to put out good quality content consistently that people want to engage with. And if you have a bunch of templates like that, kind of doing some horn out here, but
that's okay. Go for it.
But things like when you look into it and find things like that make your job easier, it's less of a daunting task.
Yeah.
This is the age of information. There's plenty of resources out there. We're creating some of them. They already exist in other forms. You can find them and they can make this huge, daunting, scary process a bunch easier.
Yep.
That's not properly formatted phrasing wise, but
that's okay.
A bunch easier.
Point stands. And I will say that our last topic on this subject is actually just that. There's all this information out there and you can go out and learn as much as you want. But if you don't actually take that information and try to apply it to yourself or try to apply it in some way, shape, or form, depending on what kind of bite-sized take you want to take from it, it's almost just not even useful having it. You have to be able to actually try to put this into practice. You have to be willing to go out and see if this works. And not maybe once, not maybe twice, but 3, 4, 5, 6, however many times it takes to be like, okay, yeah, this isn't for me. Or, yeah, this is for me, but I'm going to try it this way, a different way. You can consume so much information. Like I fall victim to this all the time where I just consume. And then I go back and I'm like, well, I've never even used that. I totally forgot about this. And now I'm going to try to use it. And then maybe you try to implement it into your workflow or into your career, into your business.
Things have to be done. So please, if something that we talk about sounds like it could really help you in your career, or you think, yeah, that's the next step, or I've been neglecting that, implement it. Re-listen a couple times, take notes, apply what we talk about in future episodes. And this is being launched with 2 other episodes. So listen to those and see if those apply to you. And if you implement it and it works, please let us know. Give us an email, tell us your feedback on it.
Yeah.
Or, maybe if it doesn't work, still let us know. Maybe we can help you tweak it or personalize it specifically for what you're doing or whatnot. But sometimes it may take a little bit more time. Sometimes things could happen really quick, but implement the things that you learned that you think will push you forward in your career and are relevant to where you are. And I specifically say that because shiny object syndrome is a thing. That's the second time I said a syndrome. But no, shiny object syndrome is a thing where it's like,
very much so.
Oh, that looks like it could help me. I'm going to do that. Then the next week we release a podcast episode. It's like, oh, that sounds like it could help me. I'm going to do that. And you completely abandon the first thing you did.
Yep.
Nah.
Been there, done that.
Exactly. I've been there, done that. And it wasn't until recently where it's, no, I got to sit down, focus. What are my focuses? What are my goals? Only specifically taking content that is helpful towards where I'm going towards. And that's a podcast we're going to do hopefully soon, is about how to set your goals and how to actually put a schedule together that makes sure you can hit these goals and make sure it aligns with the lifestyle you want in the future. So if you don't even know how to go about setting your goals and finding out what the best way to move forward in your career is, stay tuned for that, because we're going to be making a whole episode about that. But exactly what you were saying, that knowledge is out there. Take advantage of it.
Have to.
You have to. We're part of it. We're here to help as much as possible.
Yep.
So, yeah, and if there's something you're specifically struggling, as I mentioned earlier, message us, emails in the show notes, in the description of the video.
We'd love to hear it.
Yeah, tell us what you are struggling with, and we'll put together something that we've learned, that we know. Maybe try to bring on somebody that's relevant.
Yeah.
And, dine out with them. That's our mission statement, to talk about, make these actionable, digestible, easy to think about, get them on top of mind, and actually, when you act on them, help move your career forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think you summed it up perfectly. Is we're trying to make this a career for you, as like we're trying to do this for a career for us, and do it for as long as we can and as long as we really want to, like that's the goal, is to just be able to have fun and make music and still take it seriously at the same time, and be able to support yourself, support a family, support whatever your goals are, which like we'll talk about.
Yeah. And if you're not having fun, you're not taking it seriously enough. So remember that. Have fun with this too. It's be creative. But I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
you said, have
you're
fun
great.
with it. Yeah. If you're not having fun, you're not taking it seriously enough.
Yeah. This isn't a sit down, bring the pen and paper, even though I think you should take notes.
Oh yeah.
But this isn't like a sit down where I'm going to test you on it. It's hey, we're going to have some fun doing this, but like still take this seriously at the same time, and see what you can do and apply it to yourself, and see where it takes you. Because like, I'll tell you what, unless you do something really bad, you can redo all of this, I mean, if you can do some really bad things in life, and sometimes you can't come back from it, but this is some stuff that you can always revisit, and you can change, you can go back on, and you can reconfigure for yourself. So don't ever feel locked into anything. This isn't a scary, this is me, this is all I'm doing journey. This is we're all going to be here to figure it out and see what works for everybody else, and we're going to have fun doing it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So much fun.
I'm already having fun.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I think that's about the part where we conclude the episode.
I think so.
Thank you for listening and joining us.